All right, so I think we're in a good spot to start working in Oasis Montage and getting our data into the software. So we're going to go ahead and open up our software here, and we're going to create a new project, and you can point to or save it to wherever uh, is convenient, where you're saving everything else. For me, I'm going to save it into this junk file because I don't want to get it mixed up with um, my other files. So I'll just do, whoops, OM tutorial Grav, and here is our blank user face. The first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that in our sub menu up here, or quick access menu rather, that we have the tools we need in order to start processing our data. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to, or over here to project. We're going to go to manage menus. And from manage menus, you're going to expand these extensions and you're going to click on gravity and terrain corrections. I'm going to hit OK. And from there, you can see that we have now gravity, moving platform gravity. But we're going to be working out of this gravity menu. Now that we have the menu we need, we're going to go into gravity. We're going to open up our base station location or base station data and open create base station database. From here, we're going to point to our base station folder. And I always just keep this folder separate from everything else because you really only need that file in it. I just, it's quicker to find it if you just have it separated. And we're going to open it and OK. And now we have our base station data, and these are our known values. This is what we can normalize everything else to. Now that we've opened up our base station, we're going to open up our location data. And the location data is just our GPS Trimble data. So back up to this gravity menu. We're going to go to locations, open, create location database. I just leave that as location. I think it's fine. You can rename it if you want or point to a different location, but this will put it in the junk folder for now, and then I go through and organize it after the fact. So hit OK. We're going to create this new one since it doesn't exist, and we're going to now load the CSV that we saved after we truncated our data to what we wanted. So yes, text data file. The other option is a GDB, but we're working with text data. We're going to hit next, and now we're going to import it from our folder. So 3 dots over here, Trimble and Grav data, Trimble, master, and then I usually have a indicator here which says CSV and not, but I guess I forgot to do it. So if you don't know, just drag the type over and you can see that we need the comma separated values. Okay, open. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention. Sometimes this will populate. Oh, nope, that's wrong. Never mind. That's next. Ignore me. Okay. Okay. So now we have all of our we have our X, Y station Trimble data down to everything that's been collected since Louis and Abbott. Now the Louis and Abbott data starts numbering at 500. And you'll see where this gets a little different once we start merging things. But everything from 269 upward up to 100 has gravity station associated with it. But before we get there, it's important that once you get to a point where you know you haven't made any errors or you haven't experimented with different settings, that you save your changes. So you're going to save changes to a current database. You'll want to save changes to here because I didn't do that originally. And now what we need to do is populate our long and lat from our X, Y channels. In order to do this, we're going to go back to our gravity menu. We're going to go to locations, and we're going to go XY to long lat. And we're not using local coordinate system. We're going to use a projected coordinate system. You're going to hit OK. And XY, that's fine. All lines groups. And then this pops up. Our current existing channels XY. And the current coordinate system is unknown. But we are going to be using this one here. NAD 83/UTM zone 11 north. Now I have this favorited, but since this is unpopulated, and if you didn't already have this favorited, you can go down here to search and you can type in the coordinate system that you're looking for, and it will populate down here. For NAD 83/UTM zone 11, you can also type in 6340 for the well-known ID, and it will pop up. We're making sure we're working in meter, and then we're going to hit OK. Next, in order to populate long lat from our XY, this is what we're going to update/create. We're going to hit next, and then this one, we're going to use NAD 83. Again, since I had this favorited, it's right there, which I suggest you do once you search for it and find it. It's much quicker to just do it from there. So 6318 for the well-known ID. And yes, and this is a geographic system, coordinate system. We're going to hit OK. And now we have our long and lat populated using our X, Y values. And I always just go down, make sure that everything's there, everything's cool. Great. Save it. And that's good. Next, we're going to populate our elevation channel. Our elevation is the same as Trimble. And you could set your elevation just to be Trimble, but sometimes it's easier just to think about your elevation being elevation. So what you can do is you're going to click on elevation twice. The first time it's going to highlight the header. The second time it's going to highlight the entire column. Once you have the highlighted column, you're going to hit the equal sign, and you'll see that down here where it says line group, we'll switch to formula. And then you're just going to type in Trimble, and that will populate across. Each value will be copied over, and now you have your elevation data. Next, as you can see, we have an X and a Y, and that is what we're going to use for X, Y, Z values, but we don't have Z. Our elevation is Z. In order to get our Z value, or tell Oasis what we're going to use as Z, we're going to go to coordinate. We're going to go to set current XYZ, and we're going to use our elevation as Z, and we're going to save that. Yes. Now we have our location data in the way we want it. To keep your screen kind of clean, once you're done with your databases, you can minimize them, then they'll just go right down here. Or if you accidentally close out of them, you can go up to database and open, and you can select them from the folder. And they'll also be populated down here, location. So next we're going to import our gravity, the gravity survey. So back up here to our gravity menu, we're going to go to import gravity survey, and it is a CG6. That is the gravimeter that we used. And our survey data file, we're going to click on these three dots on the right hand side, back to Trimble and Grav, and we're going to go to CG6. This is going to automatically default to a DAT file. I do that almost every time. You're going to have to change it to a text file. Otherwise, if you don't catch it right away, you'll be clicking through your files, wondering why the thing you saved isn't there. So our CG6 master, make sure you have it in .txt. We're going to open, and the output database is going to be just the name of this. You can change that if you'd like. That's totally up to you. And then our base station database is that NBMG. So we're going back to Trimble and Grav. We're going to go to location. Nope. We're going to go to base station. We're going to go to GDB, open, and we're going to hit OK. So now we have our gravity. And from here, once you open it up, just give it a quick save. And whenever you see these 2 stars here, that means this column just isn't wide enough to display all the data. Just shift it over and you're good to go. If you see a single star, that means there's nothing there, or they call it a dummy value or a dummy column. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to merge this gravity data with our locations data, which is quite simple because we're just going to go right back up to our gravity menu. We're going to go to import. We're going to go merge locations with survey data, master CG6 or CG6 underscore master, which is right here, our locations, which is right down here, and we're going to hit OK. Now, the only thing that you'll probably notice here is that once we scroll down, we're going to be missing all of the older data that was from Louis and Abbott starting at the 500 station number. And that's because when we merged, there was nothing to match it with, because it was matching based on our number over here, and it's not there. So it's not going to populate anything with that merge set, which we will deal with later in a different video. So now that we have our master GDB, we can hit save. Okay. And this is when we can start correcting our loops. So from here, you're going to hit display all, and you can see which, sorry, I did that quick. You're just going to right click, and then you can display all of the columns, or you can hide the columns and do other things, but typically we're just going to display them all. You can go over here and you can display any values that aren't shown, things like that. All right, so let's correct our gravity. Now, to say there are 2 corrections, I believe, that the CG6 does in the machine itself that are used for at the base a simple bouquet. So the tide correction is done by the CG6, and the, let's see if I can find it here quick enough. Tide correction and drift correction, I believe it does the drift. Maybe it doesn't do the drift. Oh yeah, and it does the drift correction, but it doesn't seem to have anything there. But it does do the tide correction in the machine, so we don't necessarily have to do that. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to perform some gravity corrections. And again, we're going to go up to the gravity menu. We're going to go to gravity corrections, and I like to just go in order. So gravity and then lat. So we're going to go to gravity. We're going to populate this from core grav. That's the input gravity channel. And that's what the CG6 outputs after we do a reading. And we're going to output it into our OBS grav, our observed gravity. In the selected lines, we're going to leave scaling, tide correction, instrument height correction alone. We're going to populate our drift calculation from drift core, and our absolute value gravity calculation is based on the NBMG base station. We're going to hit OK. And then from there, we should have our obs grav values right over here. From here, we're going to average our repeat station numbers, because as you can see, we have repeats, and we want to average these numbers together. So in order to do that, we're going to go over here to database tools. We're going to go to average repeat locations, and we're going to click obs grav. And so that's going to average our repeat locations, our station numbers here. And based on the input of our obs grav. So what we're going to have is we're going to have one output for 101, and the rest of these are going to have a star next to them, or they should, if I did this correctly. So we're going to hit OK. And you can double check by going over to obs grav and seeing that, yeah, now there's one obs grav output for every station collected. And now we don't need anything with those 3 stars. Anything that has these stars in them, we don't need. So in order to get rid of that data, we're going to go over to database tools. We're going to go to channel tools, sort all by one channel. We're going to sort by obs grav in ascending order, doesn't matter, you can do descending, and hit OK. And now we have all the data down here, and we can delete everything up here. So you're just going to highlight it all. Sometimes it takes a minute because it's weird. Okay. And you're going to right click, delete marked rows and FIDs. Yes. Perfect. Now, if we go back to database tools, channel tools, sort all by one channel, we're going to move this back to stations. If I can find it, there we go. And hit OK. Which then, now you should see we just have one station without multiple readings, all the way down to 269. And we don't need the 9,000 station. And then you're going to save here. All right, I am going to stop right here, and I will make the second half after I eat.